This question belongs to computer organization subject and was asked in GATE CSE 1992. So the question states, macro expansion is done in pass 1 instead of pass 2 in a 2-pass macro assembler because. So let me first tell you the history behind this. So suppose we have a program. Now during our program, it may be possible that we are using some large name or we are using an expression. Suppose there is an, okay, let us assume we are using the value of pi. So pi value is 3.141. So instead of using 3.141 inside our program, we want to use the symbol pi. So here we will use the macro expansion. So here we will define a macro pi and its value to be 3.141. Or we can also define an expression like a, the expression is 3 plus 2 minus 4 plus 6. Anything we can define as a macro. So this is a macro. Now what happens? Whenever inside our code, we will use the pi. But then we need to do this macro expansion. So macro expansion means replacing this pi with its value, which is 3.141. So all these values will be replaced. But there is a problem in this. The problem is forward reference problem. I will tell you what the issue is. The issue is, let us suppose we are having our code and we have pi over here. But due to some jump statements, we have defined pi after this. Let us assume it to be like this. Like we have a define over here, but before define we have jump over here, and here we have called pi. So this is forward reference problem, and we need to deal with this problem. As well, when we come to this pi, we do not know that it is a macro. So how we will deal with this problem? We will deal with this problem using two passes, pass 1 and pass 2. So what happens in pass 1? In pass 1, we will do the first reading of the assembly program. So one reading will be done and we will convert it into an intermediate form and store it in memory and what happens in pass 2? In pass 2, it is made over this intermediate form. The pass 2 is made over this intermediate form, and here we will be using a symbol. We will creating a symbol table which will tell us like pi, it has a value 3.141. And in pass 2, we will be using this. So what happens in pass 1? So pass 1 basically does two tasks: defining the symbols and the macro expansion. Because basically we have a macro and we basically need to convert it into its equivalent form according to its definition, and it is done in the pass 1. It is contains defining the symbols like this in the table and the macro expansion, which means replacing pi with the value 3.141. This is the work of, that is why macro expansion is done in the pass 1 instead of pass 2 in a 2-pass macro assembler.